like, yo, this bitch is.
So in this section, we're gonna call him Theo.
No.
So there's Theo. So Theo, how are we feeling today?
Theo Ron Kain.
Theo Ron.
I'm gonna just drop straight at the intro after that little statement.
I got a chance.
Opportunity, promotion, blah, blah. You know, those are just words.
Words. All I have to offer is words. Just words.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
And we're back. It's motherfucking doubleheader, back to back recordings. I know y'all be getting tired of those back to back recordings, but we're here. Fuck it. We got to play a little catch up.
As long as the listeners are not too tired to listen to us, we are not too tired to talk.
Nah, that's it. That's what it comes down to. So we'll do the round of intros, and of course I'm gonna start with my main man on deck. If you don't know, you should have always known. You should know by now. My brother Monsieur Los.
Yes, indeed. We're back for session number 2. Como se va? Como se va, crew?
And to the front of me, my lovely lady, the lovely and wonderful Dominican Sweet D.
Oh, thank you. I've officially been incorporated. Hey, y'all.
And in this round of surprise guests is actually someone that is very special to me. I love you. Nah, I'm serious, yo. Because, yo, there are very few people in this life that you come across and then that say things out loud and you're like, Coño, I wish I would have ever thought like that in my younger days. So I asked you to be a guest on the podcast and you said, chill, I don't have any media training. I was like, what the fuck?
This new generation is born with media training.
Like,
they come
hold the fuck up. We got to get it popping with the media training because I'm over here just winging it. And you said, nah, chill. I got to take classes. Yeah. Today, we're going to have a lovely young lady who's going to go by Falconi on deck. And I love having you here. Thank you very much for even allowing me to be blessed by your presence. So say a couple of words.
Thank you for having me. You guys are so dope.
Yeah, if you want media training, this is Media 101.
I have a lot to learn. So
you good. Just talk right into the mic. Pause.
Just speak.
Okay, we got it. Are we good?
Yes.
Yeah,
we are.
Perfect. Thank you for having me. This is actually the most dopest thing I've done probably in my life. So thank you.
She's chilling in her uncle's living room.
Media training, by the way. I took my media training from Theo Ron.
Really?
Is
he
like
certified? Like,
yeah,
certified Theo Ron. Theo Ron came in, put me on, and now I'm a beast.
He is the expert at everything.
Let's get Kanye on this because I feel like he needs a bit of media training. But he's good.
No. Ron thinks he's perfect.
Oh, I think he's perfect as well. I think he's great.
Don't ever think.
I appreciate
H, if you're listening, your man is perfect.
Yeah, shout out to
I just think it's a
shout out to Mr. West.
A little crazy, but cool.
Now we're gonna get right into it though, because you know what it is like when you have, at least my experience talking to or hearing people talk about younger generations, and they always say like, yo, this generation se jodió, this that. It's always a negative connotation. However, on the occasions that I have the opportunity to speak to my niece, I'm like, nah, man, yo, shit is alright. These kids way brighter than ever.
Yeah.
And
when we were younger, we didn't have that intellect.
Intellect. Not even the word intellect came into the vocabulary.
No. And now they're all like hitting you with like the thesaurus and the encyclopedia. Where'd you learn that?
So you've been on deck for a minute. I feel like you've been rocking, and every time I share conversations with you, you have a lot of insightful things to share. You taught me about the meaning behind hair. You want to talk to people? Remember about that conversation?
I do.
Okay. What was your what was it exactly you said? Do you remember?
Behind hair.
So hair has a lot of spiritual or like energy to it. So a lot of people, like especially nowadays, they're like, oh, they go through a breakup, they cut their hair, which is essentially like a connection. So your hair holds a lot of energy. So if obviously, like especially now, like there's like red hair. Like, I don't want to fuck with her if she got red hair. She's not in her healing phase. Red hair is like, oh, like she's a beast. She's a demon. She's playing niggas left and right like crazy.
No way. I had no idea of the color.
Yeah, so if she got red hair, stay away. She's not healed yet. Oh. Everybody stay away. She's
What about purple?
Oh, damn, that's worse.
Oh, shit.
If she got color hair, she a freak in the sheets, but she crazy. So you gotta.
I mean, I went through the phase where I cut my hair after a breakup.
And how was that?
I chopped it.
And why?
I felt like I lost like 20 pounds.
But why did you do it? Because you needed a change, right?
Yes, I
Exactly
wanted to
my
do
point.
something completely different, eradicated, and nothing like me. I mean, anybody who knew me growing up knew I always had hair down to like mid-thigh. And
Mid-thigh?
It was mid-thigh, and I went through a rough breakup,
Damn.
and I chopped it to my elbows.
Exactly.
So I was just like, I want to be something different. I want to change everything, and I completely changed my entire hairstyle, my whole home, my feng shui, everything.
Yeah, that shit, it holds a lot of energy. Keep it a buck. It's literally by your mata, like by your brain. So a lot of people, when they go through a breakup, they just cut their hair because it's therapeutic in a way. So
I mean, I missed it. No joke. Right after, I was like, "Oh shit! All right, I'll get used to it."
Nah, but it's like a whole birth, and then on top of that, like if you look even deeper in the history of Samsung and all that kind of good stuff, you're like, wow, man, yo, there's mad shit behind hair that I didn't even know about. Matter of fact, like one of the cool stories I remember hearing was about regarding hair. And this is super off topic. I mean, because there is no topic. It was regarding Rick James. And Rick James, when he started his group, he was flying out to England to find out who were the people that were designing the Beatles' haircuts. And he was like, oh, I want them to do my haircut. But in his flight, he came across an African person, I mean, from whatever country in Africa, and they had the braids. And then he was like, then he looked into it further, and then that's when he learned about the African tribes that do those braids. And he was like, nah, fuck that. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
So he made everybody in his crew get the fucking braids.
The box braids.
Yeah.
Like
James, bitch.
yeah.
And I'm like, wow, look at that. So everything has like a little subtle tie-in, because although he was ready to go far, European with the style by emulating the Beatles, when he came across that, I was like, oh shit, look at that little tie-in. But when you shared that fun fact with me, it all brought it to life. But nonetheless, I was just like blown away. At that time, I think you were like 17 or so.
Yeah, I was 17. I remember that. We were in Dykeman.
Yeah, I took it to Dykeman, my bad.
No.
Why? Listen, you were with your culture, but you were with the people.
No, because he asked me, where do you want to go? I was like, oh, I want to go to Dykeman. I've always seen everybody I follow on Snap, Insta, always in Dykeman, posted up. And I don't, like, for me, like, the way I grew up, like, you can't do anything unless it's not with your family. So I'll only drink with my family, only smoke with my family. So I was like, oh, I'm in good hands. Like,
You're with your family.
exactly. It's literally blood. So we had he didn't have a blast because that was a bad
Dykeman
night.
is a turn up. Anybody who's been to Dykeman, shout out to Dykeman.
Yeah,
It's a
shout out.
turn up.
Straight shots.
Shout out.
I mean, as of recent, there's been a lot of shots there, no
Yeah,
pun
yeah,
intended.
yeah.
However,
I dropped the laser so I can
there you
get
go.
her a little softer.
Yeah.
modify it a little.
Nah, but you know what? Yeah, I did have fun.
Did
fun.
you? I ended
And-
up, for context, I ended up vomiting in his crib. It was not.
Oh, that's lovely. It's not a fun night unless you throw up.
If you don't throw up, that wasn't a night. It
I
wasn't
wasn't
a night.
gonna even put you
It
on
wasn't.
blast
It wasn't
like
a
that.
night with.
I gotta
It was
put
not a
myself
night
on
with
blast.
Ron unless you threw up after.
I gotta put myself on blast.
Yeah.
I gotta take accountability. I learned from that though. I've learned my limits from that, so I've gotten better. So
If you're not stumbling out of the place and throwing up afterwards,
yeah,
it wasn't a good night.
I mean, I didn't
knocked out in the
stumble, not
cab.
vomiting.
I literally knocked out in the cab. I was snoring in the cab, like.
Yeah, nah, I wasn't
That's
gonna put her on
about to
blast, but
No,
I was
yeah.
like, all right, cool. I gotta take care of her. She's my little youngling.
Mind you, I had class the next day at 8 a.m. So
Yo, I was mind blown. I was
Oh my
like,
God.
oh my god, this bitch woke up and left on time.
That sounds like me the other night. We got home at like 5:30, and I was up at 7:15. Like, oh, I gotta get the baby ready for school. Gotta go to work.
I woke up,
Yo,
went
I
to
don't-
class. My teacher was like, yo, it smells like liquor. I'm like, not me. Not me. I'm sweating it out because this is the first time I drank like heavy. It's because it was my first experience.
Wait, what are
really.
you guys drinking tonight?
It was like,
Glenn
to him it was light. To me it was heavy.
I think it was like fucking mojitos or something.
No, it wasn't mojitos, you liar. It was like Henny. So this is my first time with
Wait,
dark
I don't
liquor.
drink Henny.
Wait,
I don't
wait,
drink
wait.
Henny.
My
Wait,
first.
Theo
it was,
Ron was
don't drink
drinking
Henny.
Henny.
it
Yo, I
was-
will bleep out Henny.
I've actually never ever drink Henny. I had it once, and I just feel like, and I'm sure a lot of listeners agree with us, Henny makes a lot of people very aggressive, and they're just not good with it. So
Okay.
I have a friend of mine who she'll have Henny, and she'll want to fight everybody giving her a sideways glance. Like, she's aggressive on Hennessy. She cannot have Henny.
That's scary.
Yeah, I had it once, and I woke up with the sickest headache, and I was like, yeah, let's not do that again.
Nah, Henny. I don't know how it works, like with the physiology of shit, but it's not favorable. That's putting it polite.
Right. I think it's favorable in the youth. Like, you see it in all the videos and stuff.
Isn't
so
that,
everybody.
that stuff Douce very similar to Henny now? Douce that everybody's drinking.
Is that bottle?
Yeah, that bottle
is
is like a
pretty
cross
bottle.
on it.
I mean, it's expensive as fuck. Though.
It's Jay-Z's brand or something like that, I heard. But I was just like, I was actually asking the other night. I'm like, what the heck is that stuff? And my boyfriend was like, oh, it's just like Hennessy. It's just, you know, over famed because Jay-Z owns the brand. I'm just like,
all
really?
those drinks that are super super sweet will fuck you up.
No, Douce is
secret
supposed to be
about
exactly
it.
like Hennessy.
Yeah, but those
It's
drinks
right
like
there.
that, like Douce and Hennessy, I really think that the devil created those drinks.
I
Like,
hear that a
in the
lot.
lab
Shit is
cooking it
literally-
up.
A lot
He
of
said,
people
"Yo,
say that.
I got some shit for them."
I
Cook it
legit
up real
think
quick.
that shit was not from God.
I was
it was
thinking
literally
clear liquor.
Jehovah will be totally against that drink.
Well, aside from the ratchetness that you did with your uncle, tell us more, just so we can get another gauge. Because yo, you were dropping some shit in casual conversation about how, you know, one of your not, I guess, your motives, but your drives behind having 3 jobs, behind making sure you do well in school and all that kind of shit, is because you don't want to be the broke bitch that's being sustained
No.
by some random.
Yeah, I mean, I guess now in culture and stuff like that, it's like, yeah, I support the girl I'm with or whatever. I feel like it's so easy to fall into, like, I guess, being supported by a man culture.
It's because I feel like it's very much so become the norm.
Exactly.
So you just basically, as a female in now's day and age, we were actually discussing this, how a lot of young females are okay with, oh, I'm gonna have my boyfriend send me money, or I'm gonna have my boyfriend pay for my nails and hair. Why don't you get off your ass and go work, contribute something to that relationship, so that if he does do it, you'll appreciate it. But guess what? If you don't pay for it, it's cool. I got my
Right.
own. Like I told her, I was like, I don't need you. I want you. There's a big difference
difference.
between having that in your life.
Yep.
Needing someone and being reliable on and relying only on them means that when you break up, guess what? You have fucking nothing. However, if you're there to complement the relationship and contribute something, what happens is when you break up, you're like, listen, you know, it happens, shit happens, but guess what? I'm still good. Because as a female, a lot of females, including our elders, very much so depend on the men in their lives. It shouldn't be that way. If you contribute something and you bring things to the relationship, that's fucking wonderful. Honestly, I applaud any man who can bring something to a relationship, and women as well. However, I feel like every woman, unless you're pregnant, about to give birth, just gave birth, with certain circumstances, sick, whatever it is, I feel like any healthy, normal, and able woman should be out there working. Even if it's a part-time job, you should be contributing something to your household.
I mean, also for me, like, I was raised by a single mom, so my mom has always, like, she's always had shit on lock, no matter what. So I've always had, like, that figure of, like, yo, no te quedas en la casa, like, tú tienes que hacer algo. You gotta make money.
Say that in English now.
All right, let's say it in English. Like, you can't stay in the crib. You gotta make money somehow. Like, there's always either, it doesn't matter if somebody doesn't depend on you, but you depend on yourself.
Correct.
So it's like you have to fund what you want to do. You have a bill to do, your phone, whatever the case may be. So I've always been surrounded by strong women, like my aunts or my cousins even now,
That's beautiful.
who they've always, like, figured it out one way or another. Like, okay,
Correct.
there's one thing that even in the Bible, one cannot depend on a man. And that's just in general. One cannot depend on another person. You have to depend on yourself.
Yeah, you can. It's on yourself. It's
Right,
on you.
exactly. So whether that's financially, emotionally, mentally, physically, whatever the case is, you have to make sure that you get yourself to be good. So with all the, like, examples that I've grown up with, I've always, especially now, since, like, I've achieved things that my family members have not achieved yet, I've made sure that I've brought in that mindset with me, because I feel like it gives me some sort of an edge compared to the other kids who may not, you know, dealt with that reality yet.
Correct.
So
Every woman should be able to handle her own.
Of
like
course.
you said, if you're home, you shouldn't be like, damn, I'm home because I'm broke. I don't have money to
Exactly.
go out. I'm going to wait for my man. I'm going to wait for him to call me to take me to dinner.
No.
No, girl, you should have your own money. You want to go to dinner? Take yourself out to dinner. Take yourself out to the movies. Take yourself out to go for a walk. Go shopping. Go find something to do with what you earned. And not for nothing, money is better. And it feels better, and it's more of a amazing accomplishment. You
When
feel
you
better
earn
about
it.
yourself when you earn it yourself.
always.
It's difficult, but at the end of the day, we all work. It shouldn't be, I feel like relationships nowadays shouldn't be a woman always depending on a man. It should be a 50-50 thing.
Or even, like, it's nice if you can do it, great. Just know that I got you when you need it. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
I'm trying to say,
Exactly.
like,
Yeah, because I'm the type of guy. If we're
Like,
chilling,
go
we're
do
going
your
out
nails.
and go do your nails,
lo
do
que
your
sea.
thing. If we're going out to eat, I'm paying for the bill.
Right.
Like
And
I would
that's
never,
fine.
I would never ask him, but can we go 50? Never.
Yeah,
I would drop dead.
going Dutch is cool if you're like broke or you're going out with your friends. I get it. But if you're going out with your significant other, it shouldn't be that way. Like, for example, let's say you have your own apartment, you're going out with a girl. She can pay for her contribution of the bill because guess what? You're paying rent, you're paying bills, you're paying everything else. Why can't she contribute? Or to be like, babe, we're not going out tonight because it's going to cost us X amount of dollars. I'll just cook at home. That's fine. I'll make a dinner. We'll have a romantic dinner at home. It's about being an independent person as a female to be able to contribute what a man truly needs, because men nowadays don't want broke
and men
females
should be
either.
looking for that. They should be looking for females like that who are actually, they hold their own, they have their thing, and they have ambition, and they're looking for something.
It's a drive that
it's a
people
drive
need, and it's as unfortunate as it is, it's so refreshing to find something like that, because not a lot of people are like that.
No,
not a lot of people are like, oh, I want to strive for more, I want to break grounds, I want to do lo que sea, or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of people that are totally fine with leaving, to being where they are for the rest of their lives, which I've never had a problem with it. Like, if it works for you, it works for you. But for me, like, I've always wanted to be better. Like, my mom came to this country, one of her kids got to have with a degree. One of her kids got to have a crib. One of her kids, it's she's invested in us. We have to have something, whether it comes to a relationship, breaking generational curses or whatever the case may be. You always have to provide. You always have to have more than what the person that invested in you came with.
Correct. You should always strive to show your parents that what they did was the correct ideology by bringing you here, by investing their time, investing their blood, sweat, and tears into everything they contributed.
Or even when it comes to a relationship, like, I need you to know, like, hey, you don't need to worry about me because I can hold my own, because you've invested in someone that's already invested in themselves, which is the best person to always invest in.
I feel like when you're with a significant other, again, doesn't matter if it's male or female, when you're with a significant other that totally depends on you, you get tired of it. If it becomes a passive thing, you're like,
drains.
I can't do this anymore, man. Exactly, absolutely. You're like, I'm working a job, 2 jobs, I'm hustling, I come home and I'm still helping you at home. What the fuck are you doing?
Hey,
and it shouldn't be like that.
There's no peace, honestly. Like, there's no resting period, there's no peace.
No.
And that's honestly the worst way to live.
I remember being unemployed, and
how was that?
My wife at the time, my ex-wife now, she held me down. I think it was like 6 months or some shit like that, because I was kind of collecting unemployment.
But that's different. Even unemployment is a contribution of some sort, and you were trying to figure out what your next step was to be as a man.
Yeah.
So nothing wrong with
at that time, though, I think she walked in one day while I was playing the Nintendo Wii. I think I was playing like the bowling game. Yeah, that bitch got so heated.
I mean, shit. I think it's all a give and take.
This is what the fuck you're doing while I'm at work. I was like, so what
else am I supposed to do?
What would you like me to do sitting at home?
Yeah. I would have cooked or something, made shorty a sandwich or some shit.
I mean, I'm sure the house was at least
clean, right?
Did you clean the house?
That shit is always on deck.
Exactly. So there's something. At least when I get home, I don't have to clean. No tengo que hacer.
She came home, the toilet seat is up. What is wrong with you?
Man.
And you're bowling?
That's the worst.
I was like that, man, smooth with it too. I was like, yeah.
That's the worst. Toilet seat being up in the middle of the night and you fall in and you're like, ah! Happened a few times.
I mean, I think
I get where it could be frustrating on her part. I get it, because you're tired, your day's long, you come home and your significant other is, playing video games. I get it. However, you also have to stop as a human being and assess the fact that that human being is also still partaking, even though you may not be happy with what their participation is or how they're earning their income. You still have to be happy they're bringing some sort of income to the house. So you're not the sole provider. Like, I can come home and be mad at my significant other, like, yo, you sleep all fucking day, but at the end of the day, guess what? He's still bringing income home. So you have to also, people tend to be more controlling in a relationship like that. You have to learn. You're two people who are working together to create something together. You're not their mom or their dad. You need to understand that this should be your partner. So if there's an issue with the relationship, guess what? You need to communicate. You need to reiterate that. And if there's a situation where, for example, you're unemployed and you can't find something and your unemployment is still coming in, guess what? You're communicating and you're still trying to do what you can to get to where you need to be. I would hold down my own for 6 months to a year, whatever it is, even if they are collecting unemployment, because guess what? Shit happens. You have to hold them, like she said, you have to be able to get the person as much as they can get you, because guess what? When a female gets pregnant or she just gives birth or goes on maternity leave, guess what? Who's holding them up? their significant other, so you have to be fair and stop thinking, us females, we think of things in a one-sided limit where it's the way it was historically, where it's like, no, you're the man, you should be bringing money. We live in a different fucking time and age, honey. Get your ass up, get to work, make whatever money you can, even if it's little.
And it's also by supporting one another. I mean, if you're in the relationship and you're there, and you have to have some compassion. So if you're coming in, obviously the house is clean, everything is good, and if he's playing on a Wii bowling,
then you know what, that's what you're doing.
Shit, at least I don't gotta clean,
Exactly.
Off but it's all really give and take in your status with the person. Like with the person I was with before, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I was a broke college student. My first year, we were together my freshman year. I didn't work at the time. I was just living off my mom. And when I tell you, I never had to worry about a goddamn thing. Cabs, food, everything. I was so thankful. So,
but you were a college student. You were doing something.
But the second I got a job, I tried to do everything I could to be like, hey, you had me when I was down. Now I'm gonna have you, no matter what, whether if you're good or not. Just know, hey, babe, I love you so much. I want to take you out, or I want to do this, or you were looking at that. I want to get it for you because you deserve it. You held me down when I was down bad, and I appreciate that because not everybody has to stay through shit like that. It's all really give and take and perception of the situation. It's all like
Lo said, it's about support. I feel
always.
like that in now day and age there's not a lot of that, and like I said, females who depend on a male or males who depend on a female, that's very passive. It'll last a few months, maybe a year, but at the end of the day, guess what, you're drained, you're tired, you're like, yo, I'm doing all this, what the fuck are you doing?
But it's also about seeing that drive, that ambition. I mean, if the person's not doing nothing, and you can see when that person is doing nothing, then you're like, okay, now I have to
figure out, do I want to keep going? Yeah,
exactly. But if you see the person,
reassess the situation.
Exactly. But if you see the person going out there, if you see the person is trying and things are not working out for whatever reason, you gotta stick with it. Always. I mean, give that support. Be there for that person, whatever it may be, whether it's cleaning or something. I got you. Don't worry about it.
You have the relationships that nowadays where the men prefer for the women to stay home while the women don't work.
And
then the men go out and do whatever they want.
No.
First of all, you as a woman should not be comfortable with that. You should not be comfortable with just staying home and maintaining a household. We live in a different generation. We live in a different time state. That is not enough. So, taking care of the home and the kids is cool, but
now speaking, I want to hear a perspective from now the up and coming generation, right? In the sense that you coming up, what are your basic expectations?
Of what, like a relationship?
Of a significant other.
Oh, I think for me, I think it's all individual. Like for me, I know I got a mouth on me, so I need you to balance that out. So if you know I got a mouth on me, you have to understand, I don't mean half the shit I say. It all comes with love. So I used to say, I would say some out of pocket shit, and I would always follow up with, said with love. Hey, I hate you and you're a bitch and you're annoying and you're a messy drunk. Said with love.
Said with love.
Said with love. Said the most out of pocket shit, but I had to follow up with that because it's always care.
So pick and choose your battles, basically.
Messy drunk.
Nah, that was more like a personal thing. That had nothing to do with my significant other. That had to do with my friend Tiger, which, anyways, but she's super dope. Shout out to my friend Tiger, super dope. Air horn.
Oh, air horn? My bad.
Yeah.
She's even telling you what's about on there.
I got you. Respect my girl.
You know those shots are for the Bronx.
No,
for the Bronx.
No, she's from the Bronx. She's from 161.
Hit him with a shot.
And a bomb.
Hit it all.
Bomb on that motherfucker.
I think from a significant other, I think right now, up and coming, I think everybody, especially in this generation, or at least the people that I associate myself with, everybody's very hungry. Everybody's very hungry to do more, want to break grounds, want to break the things that we've never touched or the people that we know have never touched. I'm from the Bronx, so there's a lot of people where I know half of my block, they never finished high school. So their kids want to finish everything that they never could have. So I think from a significant other, what we just personally need is a lot of support, and we need you to be just as hungry as us, where we can break grounds together and put our grounds physically together, so where your connections are my connections and vice versa, so we can conquer more, so that if we do end up growing together, maybe our kids can go into something like that. It's all generational. I mean, at least for me.
I mean, ideally that would be a beautiful idea, but what is it? I'm sorry to cut you off, but what would it be that you specifically that you would like out of a significant for you? We all know that within our generation,
But hold up, not to touch on briefly on what you said. I told you earlier I was watching the American Crime Story and the impeachment. And there's an episode where it's already coming out that Bill was with Monica Lewinsky.
Shout out to Monica Lewinsky.
And Underground Dirt.
And she got a clothing line now.
And so Hillary, they share her perspective briefly. And she tells a story, actually, and it's her and Bill, the president of the United States at the time, with this other black couple who I forgot who they were because, of course, they only shown in that one scene. But obviously, there are significant people that they go to visit these people's homes. And Bill shares a story about Hillary saying, like, oh, the dude, her ex, was like a gas station worker, right? Like, that's who he was. And Bill tries to say to her, like, yo, aren't you happy that you ended up marrying the president of the United States? And she says to him, if I married him, he would be the president of the United States.
Of course. Behind
because everybody knows is a great woman. Yes. Behind every great man,
I was just like, oh, that's why these dudes have to have higher standards.
Sidebar, I feel like because Monica Lewinsky is the Kim K of that generation.
Yeah. Because if I'm talking to a chick and a chick comes to me, she goes, I'm trying to figure things out. I don't know. Has no ambition. I'm like,
I got to dip.
I got to dip.
Because you and me are not going to grow. You're not going to make me better, and I'm not going to make you better. I'm just here wasting my time.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I hate, being stagnant. Like, I've never been one to be where I am 6 months ago. I always want to do better, whether if it's a small change or not. I just need to be at least 1 motherfucking millimeter to be away from where I was before. Like, I can't stay.
That's why when you graduate, they call it a degree.
Of course.
Because you move a degree.
Boom. Mic drop.
So not a millimeter, just a degree.
But they did
say from Theo Ron.
Right, just to dabble on the whole.
I don't even know if that's what they call it, but that's
what we said.
Just to dabble on like the whole Hillary Bill Clinton thing. You're right. I actually did see that on even like on primetime TV because they say that Bill Clinton never would have been the president if it actually wasn't for Hillary, because at the time it wasn't for women running for presidency, so she did everything for him. And she's the one who drove him. She's the one who gave him the ideology. She was right there behind him, behind the doors of the Oval Office, telling him this is what you're going to do, that's what you're going to do.
And I'm gonna
so
keep
she's
it
actually 100% right.
I'm just as good as my partner is. If my partner's not good, and vice versa, you're just as good as who you surround yourself with. I've always taken that very seriously. So if you're my partner, you have access to me that other people are never going to have access to because you're my partner. That's how relationships work. So if you're not doing anything, bro, it's gonna make it look like I'm not doing anything, and I'm hungry. I'm one to
not
conquer.
Not necessarily. I feel like
really?
if he's not doing anything and you're doing something, people are gonna look at you and say, "What the fuck are you doing?" With him?
Exactly my point.
But they're not gonna make it look like you're not doing anything. They're just gonna be like, "When are you gonna wake up and see that this is not for you?"
Yeah, but they're still gonna drop those words. What the fuck
are you doing? That, like, no matter what.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They're gonna look at you and say, "What the fuck are you doing?" But they're not gonna look at you as if you're not doing anything.
Right, no.
They're gonna be like, "You're doing something."
Your time.
Yeah, exactly.
I think for me, it's always been, I've always wanted to conquer more than whoever I'm with, or I've always been one to, like, I hate people that be like, oh, it is what it is. No, it is what the fuck I make of it. I'm gonna change my car, shuffle them shit 10 times. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna figure it the fuck out, one way or another.
Make it happen.
Yeah,
and
always.
if something that you want is not happening the way you want it to, guess what? Find something else and make that happen. Start from scratch.
A through Z.
As
I'm
long
gonna
as
go
you're
A, B.
exactly. As long as you're pushing and as long as you have drive and passion to make something out of yourself, you will always find a way to make it happen.
Always, it's all within you. Like, if you want to give up, fine. But I've always been one to, I'm gonna stay till there's no niggas and it's just me. If it's just me, then I'll get somewhere. But if I have to depend on someone else, I don't know how driven you are, dude. I know I'm pretty fucking driven. So that's just me, though.
The other thing that comes into play with your generation, and it's very pungent even in our generation, is females in the workplace are never appreciated as much as males are. No. So sometimes we have to work twice as hard to show our worth. I myself work in real estate, and I work in a huge male-dominated industry. And guess what? I have to always hustle and pull my own and show my worth and go that extra mile.
It's funny you say that because for my buildings, I like the property manager to be female.
Really?
They're more driven. They're more
because they have something to prove because of how the shortcomings supposedly.
Exactly what that is. We want to prove ourselves. We want to show ourselves. We want to make sure that that you made the right decision by having a female in your building.
Essentially took a risk.
Correct. And we also bring a different emotional level to our job as well. We don't just do the job and say, you know what, it's 5 o'clock, peace out.
You guys are more rational. When things break down, things get difficult, you bear down. You focus.
Correct. Because we don't have the luxury of doing this. I'm gonna keep it a buck. We don't have the luxury to, like, panic or be like, oh, it's 5 o'clock, I got a dip, or I'll figure that out on Monday. If you put it in my name, my hands, especially, like, being, for me, a minority, I always have to I always have to put more than anybody else because I have to make sure that you know that you made the right decision. Like, that's it.
I mean, on a level, yes, you're absolutely 100% right. Because taking it from a female perspective and then being a minority, you're working twice as hard. Like I said, myself, I have to work late night evenings. I have to attend different meetings. I have to make sure, late night emails and everything where my boyfriend's like, yo, do you ever turn it off? And I'm like, no.
I can't.
Because I know there's a man out there who will easily replace me and they'll take him. Guess why? Because he has the dick and balls.
It's as simple as that.
Facts.
I can't afford to sleep at the time y'all sleep.
No shots. It's facts.
It's facts.
That's it.
It's wild out here.
It's but on a more positive light.
Oh yeah.
On the more positive light, I do believe it is reinvigorating to hear you verbalize a lot of these things, such as breaking generational curses, such as hunger and wanting to have more fulfillment and growth. I personally think it's really dope, and I probably had to be maybe.
I hope so. We're related.
No. But I'm saying it's just that that level of awareness didn't hit me maybe till I was 26, 25, and that was when my former employer, when I quit and decided, I'm gonna start my own business, and he said to me, well, at least I made a lot of money off of you, and you made a living. And I was like,
that's such a fucked up way to say it.
That's how we feel it.
He virtually smacked you.
Literally.
Yo, my man. Virtually in person.
I got what I needed from you. You were basically his hoe.
I hate that shit.
So it's just like, all right, cool. And so the level of awareness that at least you're projecting on the occasions that we do cross paths is very, it's reinvigorating. I mean, I love it because you hear so many people talk about, this generation doesn't know anything. This youth is lost and blah, blah, blah. But I'm honestly on the flip side.
Right.
I believe that there's so much more.
You also bring a fresh ideology of what the newer generation has. I mean, even though we're all young and we know what it is, our generation, half of our generation is lost. However, your generation is up in the air.
No, always, yeah. It's 50-50. It can either be,
I mean, that's life.
Right, always. It's chances. So that's what it is.
Nah, but y'all coming through with some dope vocabulary and driven purposes. So talking about driven purposes, so what were you studying? What are you studying?
So I'm a political science major. So
political science major.
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean for us ignorant brothers that don't know?
You know what's crazy? I wouldn't even know. I mean, for me at least, political science is me learning the jargon that everybody speaks, and for my reason for studying it is knowing what's going on around the world and telling the people that don't have the access to the same jargon that I can afford to or I have the luxury of getting to. I want to translate it to them like, yo, this is what's going on. Like, we have these rights, we have these, whatever the case may be. I hope that makes sense, though. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
if it makes sense to you, it makes sense to us.
So you're trying to introduce accessibility.
Exactly my point. You said it in the best way. I need you as my manager. Shit.
You're trying to introduce accessibility for the people that may not, who are either knowledgeably or unknowledgeably impoverished and financially impoverished and do not have the accessibility to those things. So you're introducing awareness.
I mean, I think for me, it's just like, once again, single mom doing her, she's doing her jam, she's doing her thing. And, when it comes to political stuff, I always vote blue, which is fine. Who cares? And no politics.
You don't want to go down that road.
I don't want to go down that road right now.
You don't want to go down that road.
I don't want to go down that road. But, it's always been like, I've always just wanted, my parents or the people that I, see every day. My fucking deli man that makes my slamming motherfucking chopped cheese. Shout out to Pete.
Oh my god.
Yo, I want them to know, hey, yo, you're here, you have something to say. We built this community. Let's make it all better, and we just need somebody to speak to the people that you can't speak to because they either think you're less than or whatever the case may be. I want to be that liaison. I want to be that buffer. I want to be that person that invests in you, and I can somewhat communicate what you want to the other people who may not have a second thought or second chance of let me do this or let me whatever the case may be. So,
and
that's awesome.
You being fully aware of the challenges that you will come across, does that discourage you or reinvigorate you?
Oh God, no. I feel like for me, that's like, you know how people take pre-workout and shit like that? That's my pre-workout. When it comes to my debates and shit, I'm on my shit. People see me yeah, she's not gonna know shit. no, I be on my shit. Like I can't afford to fuck up. I can't, because for me it's like, you know, when I'm on my debates or whatever, I feel like I'm like my parents. I feel like I'm like my mom. I'm like my dad. I'm like, yo, they would be so fucking proud of me to like see me speak to these people or, you know, articulate myself the way that I can. So I've always been more of a, I don't know how to say it, but I want to be as best as I can for all the people that couldn't be because they had to sacrifice something else, or, you know, I can't pursue what I want to do because I have to pay the bills or be a parent or whatever the case may be. I want to just give them that investment that they invested in me back, essentially.
Talk about reciprocating love at its pure definition.
You know, I'm big on reciprocations. Reciprocating.
I firsthand can feel that, because once I had my son, I gave up my idea or dream of going back to college, because the fact is it was too expensive to go virtually and this and that. So I hope as to one day that my child will think exactly how you're thinking. Like, hey, my mom did all this for me. My mom pulled all this weight to do it on, you know, on her own for me. She made it happen. So you know what? I want to be more. I want my child to want to be more. The newer generation, your generation, and thereafter, I love that you guys have that ideology.
No,
I love that you have that. But I mean, you have that concept.
But I'm pretty sure a lot of people do.
So I love that. I love that you want more. You're driven for more. Like when I was growing up, in my mind, I had the idea like, listen, my parents were first generation immigrants here. Mm-hmm. I'm first generation American here.
Yeah, me too.
So I want to make sure that I have my diploma. I want to make sure that I have a good career. I want to make sure I have a good job, because I don't want my parents ever to say, well, I came to America and my kid's a fuck up.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And my mom be talking a lot of shit with the people back in DR. So I be having to,
I mean, they all talk shit with the family back home, regardless of what culture, race, or religion you are. This piece of shit, there's nothing, blah, blah, blah. But at
mind you, I left one cereal bowl in the fucking sink.
They all talk shit.
In the WhatsApp group chat.
What gets me tight is when I go back home and then she tells me about this kid, like she's the daughter of this son, like the son of this lady.
Yeah.
He's incredible. And I'm like, so who's the lady? She goes, so. She lives 3 blocks down. I'm like, Mom, that dude is a drug dealer.
Right.
Exactly.
And I be knowing all the ins and out about these people. I'm like, yo, you don't really know them. Like,
I'm like, you know, he ain't shit.
And then you're like, but what about me? I got a whole fucking life, a whole career. I'm making shit happen.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
She has me tight. And I'm like, you know, your son is a professional. My man I got it made. I got my own shit locked down. I got my money. She goes, tú no hecho nada, mi hijo. I'm like, yo.
But I can show you all the degrees and all the receipts.
My father would
haven't done anything.
My father would hit you with this fucking American kids don't know shit, stupid animals, don't know nothing. And then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, you should go talk to so-and-so's daughter. And so-and-so's daughter was like, oh, the one that's fucking pregnant for the 8th time and sitting at home doing nothing?
With 3 different baby daddies?
Exactly. Yeah. Or the one who literally does nothing but dates, like you said, drug dealers, and is literally thriving herself on somebody else's money.
I don't know how to eat. I gotta go on a date tonight.
I know mad
bitches like that.
Me and my family talk shit because me and my family talk shit and crack jokes
with
because
respect.
I'm just like
yeah, with respect, because you know you gotta hustle. You gotta hustle one way or another. You got no dinner. You know you gotta take some weird awkward jokes.
I take that shit to the heart sometimes. I tell my dad, I was like, find me one other fucking daughter in our community that does what I do and still runs backwards for both of you. Introduce her to me and let's see if who's better. And he was just like, oh no, I can't do all that. I'm like, okay, so then stop. Like, it's enough. Because you kind of feel some sort of way when your parents are always like shitting on you, and you're like, I'm trying to do my best here and you're shitting on me. Don't compare me to people who are nothing.
No, honestly. And it's crazy because I feel like, you know, every parent always speaks the best about their kid when it comes to all the parents congregating and shit. It's like, bro, I could tell you 20 fun facts about that bitch about how she ain't shit. Keep it a buck. Wikipedia page that shit. Are you kidding me?
I feel the same way. I'm dead.
It's funny that we're talking about
any
this.
culture, any generation is the same.
Yeah. No, because the other
parents
day,
don't change.
On our group chat, one of my boys posted a meme, said something along the lines of like, oh, you know, y'all be crying at your kids' step up graduation. I don't know if step up graduation was like kindergarten or something like that.
Yeah.
Anything before 2nd grade.
Yeah, I didn't have that shit. So I didn't know what, and y'all be crying there, but little, what how'd it go over, Los? Like, you cry at the kids' step up graduation.
I cry at all my nephews and nieces' graduations, my kids.
But what the meme said, the meme said something along the lines of like, we cry at the kids' step-up graduation, but they can't even wipe their ass or some shit.
It's nothing cool. It's not on
I mean, at 5 years old, they are wiping their own ass. I mean, I hope that it is. Mine
got a
is.
shitty ass.
And I'm like, damn, man. But you know what? I wouldn't have minded that positive reinforcement.
Right, of course. I don't think anybody.
And it's funny because when my mom found out I was a lefty, she goes, damn, he's not going to wipe his ass right. I'm like, it's a Dominican thing where they think if you're a lefty, you can't wipe your ass.
I'm single man because it's the same thing where in Montenegro culture.
That's a conspiracy theory.
Legit.
All right. So to just jump right back on it in regards to, I guess perspectives is the main thing for me, because how do you feel now going, you said political science?
Yeah.
And so tackling political science, going and hearing every day, I guess, you know, what is the mass amplified information of how things aren't necessarily working out well. What are your expectations? Like what is it that,
Like of who? Like
of the world?
Ooh.
I mean, because you know what it was that triggered that? Yo, when I saw, as soon as I saw you, and I said, "How you doing?" and you said, "You know, just shit, trying to take down the government." Oh wait, wrong sound effect. That was this one.
Dale. I mean, I think for me at least, I always believe that there's people like me, always, you know, it's just whether they want to, you know, do the same thing as me, which is take this seriously. Don't get me wrong, as a person, especially in the youth, it is so hard. Well, no, it's actually so easy to fall within the cracks and just, you know, do whatever it is that the youth does, which is like very much party culture, hookup culture, not really grow and establish yourself and make roots. But I was very lucky enough to have like the support system that I have around me, which is something that we don't really do, which I've always been one where like I respect it, you know, cool. Is that something I personally do? No. But I think for me, I've always thought, like, at least from the world, where there has to be, where a problem has to irk you enough to do something about it. A problem has to get you upset enough, or, you know, stir something within you where you're so passionate about it, where you physically and you want to, like, be the key to help, you know, no matter what it is, with your community, your block, your zip code, whatever it may be, 3 people, 4 people, whatever, you want to help. And I think that's how, you know. And
given in the age that where all they're amplifying is all the problems that are happening.
Oh, it's really hard.
Is there one specifically you wish to tackle? Or is it more on a macro level where you're like,
I think,
fuck it, todo lo que viene.
Fuck it, whatever's thrown my way. I think for me, at least, one thing that I've always wanted to tackle is, okay, I understand hierarchy and classism. That's always a thing. But, you know, I think for me, I've always wanted to make sure that everybody understands we're all at the table, different sections, whatever. But I want everybody to understand that I want everyone to understand what's being said. For me, that's always been a big thing. Like with my mom, when she first came here, she didn't know half the shit what people the fuck said. She learned English in a restaurant, serving people, and her first word was like apple pie cheesecake. The fuck you need that shit for? You're not going to McDonald's. You don't know what the fuck, you know. And now she's a teacher, so shout out to my mom. I love her.
We get the horns on deck for that.
Thank you. So I think for me, it's always just been an understanding of, I need everyone to understand what's going on. I need you guys to understand your you know, what's happening, what's going to be happening with your life, with the people that you entrusted to make those decisions. So I think for me, it's just overall understanding.
I got that vocabulary though.
Yo, you hear this shit?
Chill,
you hear this
they're gassing me up.
You hear this shit? Yo, yeah.
Enabling.
Yeah, is not like blown away the way I am.
Well, she's your family.
Nah, but still, you hear these motherfuckers talk and they be like, no, because
it's perpendicular.
Ain't nobody said none of that.
I don't talk like that.
I don't know why, but I feel like every time I hear a younger person speak, that's what they sound like to me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, all right, cool. It is what it is, but it's once again, it goes back to my feeling of it being reinvigorating. I'm not just gassing you because
don't gas me out.
Your family member.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, Los, you got young children.
I do,
and I hear them speak too, and I'll be blown away. I'm like, oh shit, man, this is nice.
It was something we were talking about earlier about how you need to. You need to make sure that you educate your kids and you make sure they know that what's right, what's wrong, and know how to fit into every situation that we're in. Sometimes you just have to sit. I tell like my little baby, I said, she's 13. I says, just sit back and listen. I want you to sit down with the adult table, but don't say nothing. Hear it out. If you're spoken to, speak up, and talk your knowledge, talk what you feel, talk what you know. And she does. And Chloe's a very outgoing kid. Obviously you know her. She's pretty. Yeah. She's a firecracker. She's funny as hell. But if she's in a grown situation, she wouldn't speak up because she's just there to listen, to absorb, to take everything in. And once it's her time to speak up, then she will. So hopefully by the time she gets older and she's at, like Falconi is here, at that age where her knowledge is up there, then she could do that.
I mean, and you're raising a little young boy. I mean, he's a baby. I think he's a baby.
He's 5.5. I mean, he comes home sometimes and says these weird things to me, and I'm just like, where'd you learn that? Like his vocabulary is getting there. I'm just hoping he strives for more as he gets older, that he wants to be better than just one of these kids hanging out on the street and going to the park and getting high and stuff like that. I want him to want to have a career. I want him to want for example, the materialistic things, like you want a Porsche, no problem, baby. Make sure you work, make sure you get a good job, make sure you have a good career so you can afford that car. He said to me the other day, he goes, Mom, I'm going to buy you a house. And I looked at him, I said, you want to buy me a house? And he goes, yes, and 2 cars, one for you and one for Big Chicken. And that's what he calls my boyfriend. And I start laughing and I'm like, okay, Mama, you can buy a house. He goes, how do I do that? I said, you have to go to school, you have to like school, and you have to make money. He goes, I'm going to get a good job. And that right there, I'm just like, that's so cute. But I really hope that growing up he actually does that. He enables himself to learn to speak when spoken to. He learns to kind of absorb everything going on around him and strives that as he gets older he can build something of himself, because I didn't do everything that I'm doing in life to raise the degenerate. And at the end of the day, that's exactly what it is. We're American born. I'm first generation. He's second generation. You have way too many tools and utilities that you can utilize to help make your life better, including a mom and a dad and a bonus dad that are more than willing to help you and more than willing to do what they need to do to be able to make sure that you're good and you have what you need and you can get what you need. So,
It's fantastic.
Mad love to everybody for wanting better. It's always interesting because try to have conversations with people that want more, and it's never because we ask for more, it doesn't mean that we don't appreciate what we have.
No, of course, there's always a starting point.
And I think it's one of those aspects that we also have to acknowledge as well, because. And I love the fact that you brought it up. You're like, everybody actually here has, and the respect to saying, this is what it was, and this is where I want to get, and the trajectory is only upward, and I think that in itself, carries its own weight, and it has its beauty, but it has a very, very heavy responsibility.
Oh, it is from my sister. Also, shout out to my sister. I'm doing a lot of shout outs. My sister, I love her to death. I think she's my biggest role model. We fight all the time, but that's my girly girl. She's so smart, and she literally lives the American dream right now. She literally all the blood, sweat, and tears, and my mom learning English and whatever the case may be. She made all of that come into fruition with the house, 3 lovely kids, cars, has a great job.
She had 3 kids.
Yeah, 3 kids.
Oh, wow.
Shout out to my nephews and my 1 nephew and my 2 nieces.
She had 3 kids.
But they're so good kids.
She's like, how?
Yo, my man. They said that it costs like $200,000 to raise one child.
And I'll tell you that her kids, but her kids, man, they're so lucky. And I always tell them, appreciate what they're growing up in the suburbs in fucking Staten Island, living the fucking goddamn life. Bro, if I grew up in Staten Island, I feel like I probably could have cured cancer. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I really feel like if I grew up in the suburbs with the parents, with the parents at how my sister and her husband are leading their kids, I could have probably been fucking.
You have to be part of a home that shows the example that you want.
It starts from home.
Always. Foundation.
So it's not only about having a start point, like you said, it's about having drive and passion. It's about being an example.
She's always been passionate. She's always been like, yo, I love everything I came from. I don't want my kids to go through that. My sister grew up in DR, so no electricity, shitting in wherever it was. I mean, of course they had houses and stuff, but
shacks don't count.
When shit get rough, but when shit get rough in DR, shit get rough. Like no light, no nothing. Damn, you gotta go shit in the outhouse. There's no water to flush.
Listen, I feel that you have people who are roughing it even in New York City, growing up in the 80s and 90s.
Yo, wait. I'm going to DR in a couple weeks.
Damn.
I think it's like 2
The whole ether.
Nah, chill. Is that what I'm expecting?
Nah.
I highly doubt
Si
that.
ahorita se fue la luz, te jodí.
You're traveling with Monsieur Los.
I was going to say, I highly doubt
He said,
that.
I don't take that shit.
Thanks, D.
I do not.
appreciate
I
that.
highly doubt that you're going to be in a shack with an outhouse. Sorry.
That's me. My parents are from El Campo, so that's me. But,
I mean, like,
Nah.
growing up in New York City, I grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment with 5 brothers and sisters. So,
Five.
That's a lot.
5. So it's like we all kind of did our thing. My sister lives out in the burbs, like you said, with 3 beautiful children, has an amazing job. My brother lives out in Staten Island, ironically, 4
Shout
beautiful
out Staten
children,
Island.
making, you want to build that life to make more than
Always.
what you had growing up. I don't ever want Zane to know what it's like to struggle living in 1 bedroom with 4 other siblings, fighting over who's going to get the PlayStation, who's going to be on the computer, who's going to be on the TV, screaming, yelling, not necessarily having enough to eat at certain times, whereas the bread your mom makes and cheese is all that you have for a meal. I never want my child to have that. So that drive and passion is what I personally like to unveil and develop into what I offer my child now. I want him to know that. And he's going to know what my past was so that I can be like, listen, you piece of shit. This is what I went through to give you your life, and what you have, you better appreciate it. And if you don't, you can find it elsewhere.
What do they say? Malagradecido?
Malagradecido.
Así mismo. So,
In English?
Malagradecido.
same thing you said.
Ungrateful.
Ungrateful.
Yeah,
Ungrateful.
like I can't. And I tell my parents every day, I'm like, Mom, Dad, thank you so much for everything
Yeah.
you did. My parents still live in a superintendent. It's because they choose to. They can live in one of their homes, but they choose to live there. And it's because my father's like, no, I'm used to this life.
Yeah,
My
sometimes that's
father's
all
in
you
his
know.
70s. That's all he knows.
All you know.
So I'm just like, I don't ever want that life.
But
for
now
my
it's up to
children.
you to like bring into fruition all the stuff that they did,
Correct.
which you've done, and now same thing. That's your
Correct.
kids' responsibility. All the blood and sweat. It's literally all. I mean, for me, it's all investment. We're not satisfied. My bloodline, my generation, my family's not satisfied till we're all at the top, one way or another. Like connected by whoever it is. Like unless we're all eating good, none of us are
Correct.
eating.
At
Like,
the top to whatever the standard that you can create
Always.
because not everybody can create a certain top standard to
No,
what
of
you
cour-
think,
right,
you know?
of course.
So
But to the
I
point where we're
personally agree
financially
with
well,
you.
we can eat.
Yes.
Where we never have to worry about.
I don't want to have to worry about you, and if you have
Exactly.
somewhere to sleep, something to eat, and somehow to get around.
Yeah.
That would break my heart to hear.
I
my
never
kids say
want to
that.
be at the starting point where my family's invested. I never want to be back there. I never want my kids to be there. I don't want. It's always you have to be better than I was, so that we're all and better. Like in general.
Nobody wants to be in a
Absolutely.
motherfucking outhouse.
Nah, never. That's
not
just
even, not
sucks.
even that. It's just
It's
like,
just-
let's say you have kids a few years from now on. You want your child to be somewhere way different than
100%.
where you currently are right now.
I want them to have the
You know what I mean?
opportunities I never had. I had I'm gonna keep it a buck. I went to a public school in I don't know if anybody knows 244. It was so ghetto, like so bad. I went to like an okay high school. Like it wasn't the best, but it was alright. Anyway, so half the people I know now, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Pregnant, kids, baby daddies. Bro, we're like 19, 20. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing worrying about kids?
I mean, it's also has to do with the atmosphere that you're
No, 100%.
that's around you. That's surrounded by you.
I never want my kids to experience that. I want my kids to be jealous that, they got an internship on tal and tal. I don't want my kids to be like, oh, shorty got pregnant or lo que sea. Like maybe that's what I should do.
I mean, you live in America. You're not gonna be able to deflect from that. However, you're gonna be able to show your children. Listen,
If our youth has your maturity, we'll be okay.
Yo, my man,
We're in good shape.
hold on. I'm 36 and I'm scared to have kids at 36.
That's okay, bro.
Because
lifetime
it's one of those things where I'm like,
it's not that you don't know what
things
they're gonna
gotta
turn
be
out with.
okay.
Little
Right?
Kings
Like,
running
bro,
around is a scary thing.
No way.
Yeah, I want things, the household, like
Yeah.
everything to be kind of in check. And so I do hear what you're saying, what you're sharing. However, at 8, I'm trying to push it off. at 36.
That's fine.
And you're over here at 18 talking about I want my kids to be better.
But I gotta think about that because I feel like I have so much to prove. Like coming from where I come from, my parents, I feel like I have more to prove to anybody who didn't believe in my parents, who didn't believe in me. Like, yo, fuck y'all, suck a dick. This is what we mean.
I'm sure when Ron was within your age range, he was also thinking about this I want for my future.
Oh,
but guess what? In the meantime, between then and now, life happens.
Things change.
And things change. Your perspectives change. Your drive change. Your goals change. So, I'm pretty sure that Ron would be an amazing dad. So I'm not.
Shout out.
I got
shout out to Theo.
I got a shout out.
Shout out to Theo.
Ron.
wait, definitely the wrong sound. No, it's supposed to be that one. There you go. I got a shout out. Nah, because you know what it was like. It's at that point in my childhood, and then that shit sounds so whack. But I mean, what am I looking at? If I'm 36 and I go back 15 years, right? Puts me still in my 20s. So if I go 20 years. And that puts me at 16. So at 16, people were in unfortunate circumstances. And even at 16, there were young little girls that had
our generation was different.
That had mature features. And although the features might be mature, the mentality was not.
It will never match up.
And the circumstances, who they were messing with, it was a drug dealer or whatever. And but at that time, the drug dealer's 22, 23 years old. And like, now you can talk about the statutory rape, but back then, honestly, like...
You picked up someone like that. You're like, oh my God, that's so hot.
It's a fucking minor.
The minor was like happy that she picked up
it was an accomplishment. It's like an achievement unlocked.
And the parents were okay as long as the dude had money.
Yeah.
These were the standards. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But
I don't know what it is now.
If you look, like, I not to justify it, but I mean, for me, it's somebody's always worrying about a come up. So if you can't eat at home, but you're messing with this dude who can feed you, to them, that's a come up. Whether it's small or not, it's a come up to them nonetheless. So that's just it.
So they're happy about the degree.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know. I can't speak from my experience. That never been me. But maybe to them, maybe for them, that this is all I wanted. I just wanted to not worry about money or whatever the case may be. It's not my business how the fuck you get it. I just know my bills are paid, and whatever I make is just mine, and extra money, whatever the case is.
And that's it's just wild. I mean, I don't recall ever having these type of conversations as
we didn't.
We didn't.
We
just
didn't.
we didn't even talk.
We grew up in a different time. We grew up in the time of Aaliyah and R. Kelly, and like we grew up in a way different time.
R. Kelly.
We didn't grow
scary
up.
name right now.
What people have done is they've created children and shown them more intellect. Made them kind of like herself, where you're like, no, you need to do more with yourself. You need to build more. It's not just like, oh, I'm dating this drug dealer. He got me hooked up. It's all right. We're going out to eat. He give me money. Let me get a stack. Like, it doesn't work like that. We grew up in a different time.
No, I'm sorry.
No way.
Dominican D.
Dominican D grew up in Dykeman.
Nah, it's wild. And nonetheless, I think it is very promising to hear that your aspirations go beyond that, and given all the levels of influence that you do have, because although you're sharing one aspect, I know the other flip side being her father, which is my brother.
Yeah.
And my man, his due diligence has not been the greatest. However,
he's a cool dude though. He's alright. I'm gonna give him props. He's alright.
He don't get the shout out. But
no, shout out.
He got a shot on the
I'm finished.
And I won't dive too much into it. However, it just gives me more of the spirit of positivity and hope. And so what I'm trying to share with you is, as I'm recording it, as I'm saying it, that you are light. And you are beauty, you are everything, you're timeless.
Guys, I'm crying right now.
It's dopeness because, you said 18? 19? 19.
Well, yeah, I'm 19 right now.
19. Yo, I know for a fact I wasn't speaking like that. Shit, I'm not even speaking like that now.
At 19, I had a cool $40,000 bill. All credit cards. Like 5 credit cards.
Really?
40 G's.
He was going to buy all those name brand clothes.
Niggas said we going to
What happened is, Well, what happened was when you go to college, they send you all these.
They have fairs and shit.
They send you all these offers. You're like, oh sweet, I got this, I got that, and you're like, I'm gonna go everywhere. I'm gonna go to Mexico. I'm gonna go to the yard and blow my money, which I'm not gonna shit it in the backyard. I'm gonna go to a nice resort. And you think you never have to pay that back, and once that bill comes, you're like,
that shit is
pero cómo va a ser?
Pero tú lo calculaste, like, for real, like, this is real, man.
Yeah, there is no income. This is not imaginary money I'm just using here.
He goes,
No, but I be thinking money's not real. Hold on.
And they hit you back with that interest. We're like, what is that? ¿Y qué es eso? No,
you took out a loan. No, nobody teaches us that. But yo, you rock, and so that, once again, it's very happy. It's a breath of fresh air.
Thank you.
And I hope you continue rocking.
Yeah, I got to.
No, you got to.
I have to.
You have to.
I'm with greatness. I got a table full of greatness. I got to be great. You know?
Aww.
Now that gets the horns. All right, we're hitting up we're definitely at our wrap up time. So we'll do last call for words. We'll transition it off.
Into the segue.
Yeah, we'll start off with you, my brother, Monsieur Los. Last call for words. What would you like to say?
Last call. I mean, the youth. I mean, our youth. The only thing I can say is, I mean, we're looking bright. Everything's looking amazing. Contrary to what's happening in the world. College is great. Degrees are great. It all starts at home. My dad was an executive chef for 15 years, and one of the things I learned really early from him was that he didn't grow up to be anything but an executive chef at a country club. So he was basically making chicken parm, the regular food, at a country club, and he could have done a lot more. And I was like, why? This man didn't do more. And we need to be smart enough to know that we have to expand beyond that. And we need to be versatile so we can sit on a table with anybody who talks money, talks stock market. They could talk about wine, talk about food, political stuff. And we need to be a chameleon, females, male, everybody. We need to sit down at a table, everybody, sit down at a table, especially us minorities. Yeah. We're very one-dimensional. We're multi-dimensional, so we can sit anywhere and we can be comfortable and talk about our conversation with anybody. I can sit anywhere and I would not feel uncomfortable.
That's good.
I can sit with the Prince of Wakanda. And I'm Gucci.
Wakanda forever.
And I'm straight up Gucci. And we need to be versatile to that point where we can sit anywhere, and it takes us a long way.
It does.
So, versatility. Bomb. My lovely sweet D.
Dominican D.
I just want to remind everyone that everything starts at home. You should teach your kids and supplement your kids with the tools necessary to strive to be more in life. It all starts, like I said, at home, and it starts with us wanting to show them and guide them and wanting to make sure that they have more than we had. And I just feel like this new generation up and coming is amazing. But we also have to remember that we're also part of this new generation. So as much as we would like them to acclimate to us, we need to learn how to conform and acclimate to them and have a little more understanding as to guiding and showing them how things are supposed to be based on us wanting to excel in life as human beings.
Dropping bombs out here. Yeah,
dope shit.
Insightful motherfuckers. Falconi, what do you like to drop?
Ooh, I think just investment no matter what. Invest in people who invest in you. Remember, investments, I feel like you always have to pay back. Don't forget where you came from. Shout out 231st. That's where I'm from.
Michael had a lot of shout outs this episode.
No, I really do. Reparations, guys. This is I just needed the platform, y'all.
All of a sudden our ratings are gonna go sky high. Guys, I was on a podcast.
No, I really am. Like
that youth movement.
Like, everybody tune in. No, just investment. That's it. Just investment and hard work and just a lot of heart. It takes a lot. So you have to be very passionate, and that's all.
Everybody's dropping bombs, so now I gotta think real hard about what I'm gonna say. It's always interesting for me to hear the opposition of when people share share their views on how things aren't going well. However, I think we're just going through a transition of people knowing their worth and knowing what they want and asking for it. Before, we didn't have that voice, or we didn't have that amplification of our voice. And now we do. And we need to be mindful of the ones that say that what we're sharing means nothing. We need to know that as well, because the reality is, when people are talking about mental health, self-care, wellness, like, we come from I come from a generation of mothers that, to make a living, took care of other people's kids. And by the time they got home to take care of their own child, they were like, vete de aquí, muchacho del diablo. Like, leave here, you little devil child. Like, no me joda. Don't leave me alone. Like, you know what I'm saying? And now we're taking the time to reinvest in ourselves. And we need to be mindful of the people that are quick to kind of also want to take that away from us. Because now they're using such words as inflation and all this other shit. It's just because they're paying us more, things need to go up more. I get all that fine economics and all that shit. However, they're always trying to keep us out of reach. And if we continue with the trajectory of awareness, I think we will finally be able to attain what it is that we want, which is financial freedom, spiritual freedom, just overall wellness. Motherfucker just want to be good.
Yeah, you just want to live.
And so I think you guys are fighting the absolute right fight and the good fight. And I thank you very much for taking the time to share your words on Just Words. Nobody cares. And so with that just said, my name is Ron Kain. We're out.